Good job. Good job, C. All right, we are live. Goodness sakes. Nice to see you all. Z's consistently drinking his aquarium water. I do have a bit of an announcement to make. Alex, Secret History, was in Tampa, Florida last week, early in the week, and had a severe medical event, wound up hospitalized, and from what he has told me, was near death. Don't know exactly what happened. It was apparently a combination of factors, coupled with some apparently poor treatment at the hospital. He is fine now. He's recuperating, trying to figure out precisely what happened. He was out collecting in 97-degree weather, so it was terribly hot. And he was by himself, so he was really, that's very hard work. Collecting is a very muscular thing to do. It doesn't seem like it because you're enjoying it so much, but it's physically very stressful. And I'm sure that's what happened. I'm sure in that terrible heat, he stressed himself, um, and just pushed himself beyond his limit. The next morning, he woke up and he was in rough shape. So, in any case, he is back home in Seattle. He's doing fine. He's fully recuperated or nearly so, and is on the mend and trying to figure out exactly what happened so he can prevent that from happening again. Thank you, Spinster Sister. I did have a delightful time. It was wonderful. I got to meet so many people who I've only chatted with and only talked with, um, time and time again, online, and to be able to meet them and talk and get to know people, it was just great fun. Dietmar Flad needs a wrench. Hello, nice to see you from Germany, and you're up late. And who else? Nathaniel Wilkerson. Oh, I did. That's funny. I did Dietmar. I did Nathaniel and not Dietmar. Now I got them both. Okay. Got you both. Angel Shell. Shell. I learned how to say, and I'll never be able to do it now. Um, Iluksta. I can't do it. I don't know. I ran into a friend of his who's also from the same from Romania, um, and he taught me how to say his name, and I've lost it. But I think Brenda got it, and she will remember. So I'll get her. I'll get her to teach me tomorrow. Skylar Ellis, nice to have you with us, Skylar. Skylar Wrench, and who's this? Indiana Grass. Indiana Grass. Already gave you a link. Fish Fam Link. Hello, Fish Fam Link. DJ Guppyfish is here. Holla Girl is here. Love you too. Nice to see you. Angel Chill, Justin Herbert. Nice to hear. Thank you. Andy Underwood. Oh, you know who called me yesterday and I didn't get back to him? Andy called and I was tied up and I didn't get back to him. I need to do that. Andy, if you're here, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, but I will. Q Aquatics. Hello, hello. Yes, it was wonderful. And it was such a delight meeting you and meeting Fish Fan Link. Wow, such a cool bunch of people from Sweden. Angel is from Sweden. Nice to have you with us. We have Sweden and we have Germany in the house. And I got lots of new fish. They get a bunch of new fish. Fireheart, welcome, welcome to Snook. Thank you for joining up and being supportive. Means a great deal. Psychedelic Hippocampus is here. Hello, hello. Terry Skiles. Angel is still awake. It's 6 hours. It's midnight or 1 o'clock, probably midnight in Sweden and probably 1 o'clock in Germany. Nathaniel is from Missouri. Where's the Santa beard? I know, Ruggiero. I've had a number of people tell me they want it back. I'm from the Netherlands. There's a Winkle. There's a Winkle. Can he give you a wrench? Ooh. Who was this? Your fishy indulgence. Can't wait till next weekend to be able to go to the Quad Cities for my first big swap show. Wow, that'll be super. Sipe, hi Father Fish from Argentina. Nice to have you with us. We're getting a number of people from Argentina popping in. Australia. Justin is here from Australia. Almost midnight, Terza says. Yeah, well, 11, 8 minutes. Skylar, hi from the Grand Canyon. And Julie from Wisconsin. Hello, hello. Nice to have you all. Psst is in Spain. It's midnight in Spain. And Psst is here from Spain. Nobody's here from India because it is 6 o'clock in the morning in India, or maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh, which would be worse. Hello from the Grand Canyon. Goodness. Baby Mollies. Terry has baby Mollies. Oh, that's wonderful. Such a lot of fun having babies in the tank. Gamer One, hey Gamer. Bunny's Oasis from Scotland. Maeve is from Scotland. Nice to have you here, Bunny's Oasis. And I just gave you a wrench, which will show up at some point, probably. Fire Harp. Oh, the Grand Canyon is gorgeous. I see. We're going to play that, are we? That's funny. That is funny. Grand Canyon is gorgeous. Yes, it is. 3 cold black baby mollies. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Always hit the lake before I ever hear a word of wisdom. Whoa. Psychedelic Hippocampus added a small limb of dead oak leaves to my tank, and the otter is loving it. So are the coolies. Good evening, Erie. Nice to see you. Terry's Mollies are Dalmatian, and India, India Tigress is punny, very punny. Angel Jelly, in Swedish it'll be Farfisk. Farfisk, what? I missed that, I guess. Oh, well. Oh, so there is, let me see if I can find the flyer. There is a show coming up. I need to dig this out. Should have had it now. Wouldn't have to dig it out if I had it now. Well, there's a show coming up in April in Connecticut, one of the oldest clubs in the country. And I've got a flyer for it here, and I am enormously excited about it. Oh, here it is. I'll have to show you some of the art I got. Look at that. Back to Nature, the 45th Annual Tropical Fish Convention, April the 6th and 7th. Is that right? 5th to the 7th. 5th to the 7th. Next, use code Keystone to save $10. Okay, so I'm going to do not just a vendor table. I'm going to do a major display because my plan is to do a huge splash. Because here's what they're doing. Back to Nature, they have a speaker who's a biologist who is reintroducing the goody eye to native habitat in Central America. What they have unwittingly opened the door to is Father Fish Back to Nature talking about how the aquarium needs to be a natural environment. And here's the thing that's exciting about this. And I want to, well, there's Andy. Look, he's calling. Isn't that funny? We just, Andy, just talking about you. Hi. Are you there? Yeah, I'm here. I was just talking about you. I'm live right now. We're talking. We're all talking to Andy right now. Oh, okay. I was just no. I just mentioned you because you called yesterday and I was tied up and I forgot to get back to you. It's just been so busy. I was in. I was at the Keystone Clash in Pennsylvania and had a fabulous time. It was just a real gas. And I was just about to talk about something I found out there. So I want to get back to that. Why don't you tune in and I'll call you back after the show. Okay, I was going to tell you right. I did get to talk to Raul, and I'm going to go to his house to see what the little bettas look like. Oh, good. Okay. So we should be able to put a package together this week for you. Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be wonderful. I'll get back. Okay, sounds good. I'll get back to you. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah. Andy's an old friend in Florida, and one of my hobbyist friends has been breeding really nice bettas. So he wants to send me some. So they're gonna try to get that together. But let me nail this to the wall. Here's the issue. They are reintroducing fish, some of the goody eyes, to native habitat that has been restored. Now, here's the question. are the fish that they have been holding, been living in an environment that mimics their natural environment? Because if they have not, then these fish are going to be in serious trouble because they will not have developed the natural behaviors in dealing with predation, in knowing where and what is food and how to find it, and on and on and on. Knowing what the cover is, knowing how to be secure. I mean, the whole issue of restoring fish to their natural habitat has to occur long before the restoration occurs. And it has to occur by maintaining these fish in an environment that is as close to their natural biotope as is possible. So, not only do I want to dig into that at the show, but I also want to be able to do a very large display that will demonstrate exactly what's involved in setting up and maintaining a natural environment, a natural aquarium. So we'll be doing the deep substrate, certainly, with all of the details. We'll be doing the we'll be doing the food web. We'll be doing structure, hardscape. We'll be doing plants. We'll be doing the food. We'll be doing live foods, particularly. And we will by then have much of our book finished. So that's going to be a part of it. I want to be able to talk to Karan about this, to our editor, and see if he can help us put together a display that we can have for the show that will demonstrate exactly what we're talking about and how all this really happens. So I'm enormously excited about that. And I'm seeing it as an opportunity for a real breakthrough in natural fish keeping. And I'm looking at something right now that I want to share with you. I picked up a betta. I normally don't buy bettas. This one I had to get, and you're going to see why when you see it. I didn't have a chance to scrape the algae off this tank, so but oh, look at that! All of a sudden, he's decided to hide. He's up swimming around, looking beautiful, and now he's hiding. This fish. Oh, come on, Al. I don't want to get in there. What are you doing? What is he doing? Honest fish. Now what? Come on out. There. Look at that. Look, just look at that. He has 5 colors. There's white, black, sky blue, red, orange, and there's a dark blue on his dorsal fin. Is that amazing or what? There's also black on his nose. 5 colors, maybe even 6. His gills have an iridescent blue. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're being weird. I'm showing you off and you're being weird. He's been swimming around beautifully and now all of a sudden he's terrorized or something. Come on. Honest. People believe it. Bettas are such actors. Well, I hope he lives. He's acting screwy. Anyway, stunning thing. And I've got a female up here that also has 5 colors in it. are you doing? Dingbat fish, honest to Pete. So that was one of the fish I got. Let me show you another one. I got some Kalitawa, which is a rainbow, and just a stunning rainbow. You see some neons in there too. Oh dear, and I think I saw a spot of it. I hope. Look at that. Are they amazing? I got six. Looks like five males and one female figures. This is the hardest to get of all the rainbows. And they were selling them at the show. Nice. These guys are getting real close. I think we're gonna get some action out of them. Let's see. You know what else I got? Let me show you this. I also got some Japanese swallowtail blues guppies. There, right there. Right there. And the female has a lot of color in it too. Because they don't want us to look at them. I gotta put a heater through this. It's not cold, but it ain't warm. Look at her. Yes. What are you doing down there, dimwit? I wouldn't have shown them to you if you were acting that way. You didn't start acting that way until I came over with the camera. I think he's hiding. That's what he's doing. He obviously has never been in a tank because he doesn't know how to act. Let's see. It's this whole thing about keeping bettas in big tanks. Typically, it freaks them out, and when fish are swimming around wildly, that ain't because they're happy. It's just the opposite. It's because they're frightened. They're terrorized. And he is terrorized. He's been in a little tiny bowl here. He's coming up now. He's perfectly normal. He just is being weird. Oh, he sees a female. Well, he finally saw the female. I got his interest. Uh-huh. Now he's acting like a normal betta. I'll spend the evening doing this betta thing. Yeah, he's on to her now. Get back over here a minute. That was me. He saw me and darted. Ha! He's hiding from me. I'm a predator. That's what it was. He was out looking around, and then as soon as I got close to the tank, he darted to hide. So it's going to take him a while to get used to me, I guess. Huh. All right. Anyway, there's that. Let's see what happened here. Straight out of Cornwall is here. Brenda. Oh, Brenda's here. Brenda says my new betta loves us both. Well, mine's scared out of his brain. The female's fine, but if I go near him, he just starts and tries to hide under a rock. spinster sister said I received the surprise. 3 baby ranchos. Oh my word. Like to know what plants are heavy feeders of fish poop. Out of state now, need to build a plant. Do Anubias and Anubias and cryptocorenes. They're going to be the best plants. Anubias you can put on a hardscape. The crypt is rooted, but they're both sturdy. They're small. They're not going to overwhelm them, and they're very sturdy plants. They'll do just just really well. That's funny, Ash. Yeah, this guy is freaking out. I'm sure he's never been in a tank, and that's what's happened. He didn't know. He doesn't understand how to deal with it. And the female now is coming up to him, trying to entice him. Oh well. Freaked him out with the camera. Yeah, I did. I freaked him out by getting close to the tank. Something big and overwhelming. Getting close to the tank. And he just darted under a rock. He's silly thing's going to kill himself. Too weird. Saw that better on OnlyFans. Funny. Funny guy. Funny guy. Grips do spread nicely. As do Anubians, for that matter. Tyler Shirley. Hello, Tyler. I'll give Tyler a wrench here. Yes. Uh, India Tigress says my betta was supposed to help with the guppy population, but he's made friends with them instead. Well, that's good. That's not a bad thing. Tape a small mirror up. Well, he's got a female in there. That'll keep his interest level up. He's got himself totally stuck under a rock now. And I don't want to go fooling with him because it'll freak him out worse. No. So he's all right. He's just cowering. Cowering. Anubias grow as quick as plastic plants. That's about the truth. Oh, I've got something really interesting. I have this really cool piece of driftwood right here. And I've been putting a little tiny banana petite. Banana petites on it. Look at this. Is that cool or what? And I got a bronze. I got a golden nana petite. It's that one. It doesn't look gold, but maybe it will. And these others are regular nana petites. And just a stunning piece of driftwood. So we'll see if they catch and really grow on it. That'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool. Rainbows. Kalikawa. Kalikawa. So I've got one female here. I guess I'd be glad if we got one. Neons. And I put another fish in here. Can't remember what it was. Maybe I didn't. I thought I did. I saw some pygmy cories and I didn't get them. I should have gotten a bunch for this tank. I've got one in here. These are the golden top minnows pairing off. Yeah, right. Anyway. So I noticed today George Farmer George Farmer Aquatic, referred to my short on synthetic soils as misinformation. Lots of bad information or misinformation, whatever the term was he used. So I told him he ought to be ashamed of himself. I mean, he's a guy who doesn't maintain systems long enough to really understand what happens to them. He sets up absolutely stupendous, beautiful, magnificent displays, and they are astounding. Some of the very best there are. He's world class, but he really doesn't understand how to maintain an aquarium long term. He doesn't have anything even close to this. This is 22 years. 22 years without messing with it hardly at all. He's got nothing comparable to that. And he's telling me that I'm giving out bad information by saying that the synthetic soils break down and become depleted of nutrients. And they do. They do. It takes about a year. Now, you can add fertilizers to them, you can keep it going. And if you tap it with sand, it will sustain itself. It irritates me. It irritates me that people step outside their ballywhack and start throwing darts without any clear understanding of what they're getting into. Yeah, George is amazing, but he's dead wrong about this. Dirt is vastly superior to any synthetic soil that has ever been developed. Dirt. Vastly, vastly superior. It has taken millions of years, according to the non creation scientists, millions of years for soil to develop. How long, how many years, how much effort has gone into developing synthetic soils? A decade, 2 decades, tops. Tops. 20 years, as opposed to 20 million. Now you tell me which is going to be superior. Natural soil is simply superior. And it's cheap. It's dirt cheap, if you will. So I don't want to hear it from these guys who have a vested interest in either selling product or gaining from those who manufacture the product. I just don't want to hear from them. Not on that level. Not unless they're willing to be open minded about the reality of what's going on in this industry. I was talking with some people at the show, and one of the things that came out over and over again is that the biggest enemy of the hobby today is the tropical fish industry. The industry is manufacturing products that make it impossible to maintain a healthy environment. And by God, I believe it's done deliberately. It's done as a way of being able to force those who get into that system to continue to buy products in order to deal with all the problems that it results in. I'll go up against anybody over that. I've talked with some of the leaders in the industry. By God, I grew up with them. I know a number of them personally. And the ones who are honest and sincere and understand the hobby are in total agreement. The big box stores are the salvation of that aspect of the industry because that's what they do. They sell product, they sell dry goods. They keep that whole industry, that whole segment of the industry alive. They ain't into fish. You're not going to find the kind of fish I found at the show at any big box store. They're not there. They're not interested in fish. They're interested in everything you can buy to put in the water to deal with this, that, or the other issue. And the real issue is that the more you do that, the more difficult it becomes to maintain fish in those systems, which is why they don't sell expensive or difficult fish because they die instantly in those kinds of environments. Hmm. Erie hates Cornwall. Erie's starting trouble again. Wilbon 007, before I met you, I used to push my dead fish and plants into the soil, and their tanks always looked great with too many plants. I still get, I still get blasted for that. That's funny. Almost every day, somebody makes a comment about that. About, oh, how gross! Putting dead fish in your tank and pushing them down in the soil. How gross! I know it's amazing, isn't it? Carrie. Hello, Carrie. Uh, yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm not ignoring it, Erie, because the more controversy I can stir up, the more I come up against these ideas that I don't agree with, and the more I stand my ground, the more chance there is that this channel will grow and what we're teaching will reach more people. So one of the things I'm looking to do, and I'm beginning to put it together now, is to find ways to reach new people. We need to reach new people. We need to get this concept of a natural aquarium and being able to put together a natural aquarium, which is a simple thing to do, as a superior thing to do. We need to reach more and more hobbyists with this. So we're looking at ways to do that, looking at ways to really begin to impact the hobby with the importance of doing natural systems. Your fishy indulgence says, "Happy you found your shining light at the beginning of my journey." And my few tanks have been almost perfect since, and still are. Keith Rose lived in Germany, learned enough German to order beer and food. Well, that's pretty good, actually. Let's see. We need to get you a wrench, Keith, and Morissette. Is it possible to go too deep on the substrate? It is possible to have for the dirt layer to be too deep. Here's the thing about the dirt layer. The dirt will rise up in the sand cap. Within a month or two, it'll rise up. If it's an inch deep, it'll rise up an inch. If it's 2 inches deep, it'll rise up 2 inches. And the more it does that, the deeper the sand bed needs to be to compensate for it. And it's very easy to get more soil in there than the sand cap can handle. And if you've got a really deep soil level and a comparably deep sand level, like 3 inches and 3 inches in a 20-gallon tank, that tank probably will blow up. It probably will become foul in a matter of days. It's just much too easy to overwhelm a small body of water with a substantial volume of soil. You really can't do it. Now, eventually, it'll settle down. It'll take a week to a month for it to settle down. In the meantime, everything dies. I mean, it'll go septic. It'll go totally septic, and then it'll begin to calm itself down, and it'll become stable, and it'll be fine. But that's going to take a while, and you really don't need to go through that. I mean, you could go through that. That would be a legitimate way. The pet is up and swimming around again now, following the female. I'll be able to show him off. He's so showy. It's a double half moon. Got this huge round tail, and it's enormous. It's just not that big, no, but comparably. It's a big, big, big fin. Anyway, the nitrogen cycle, that's part of it. It's not just nitrogen though. I mean it's everything. It's all of the organics. It fouls. It creates a foul environment. So you have to control it. And you control it by doing no more than 1 inch and then 2 inches of sand. And that'll do it. That's adequate. It'll rise up about an inch. It takes it takes a couple of months for it to fully chelate. And I put a lot of other stuff in there, a lot of minerals that are pretty active minerals. I also do a lot of carbonates in order to be able to keep the pH up so it doesn't drop into an acid state, because that can create just absolute chaos. So there are some things to watch out for in the process of doing it. But if you do it the simple, right way, it'll work brilliantly first time. You just have to really toe the line on making sure you're not overdoing anything or not stepping outside. Now you can learn how to do this and begin to experiment with it, but I try to teach new people to not be experimental. Oh God, you gotta see this. I'm not gonna get up. I'm just gonna show you. I can't do a close up. I wish I could. Now he's hiding. Oh well. We'll get it. We'll get it. Yeah, we'll get it. Um. So can you mess up? Sure, you can mess up by doing it wrong. You can mess up by and people ask me all the time, why can't I have more dirt? Because it'll create problems you won't want to deal with. It's not Dirt is not inert. Soil is not inert. Soil is organic material, and that's the basic difference between soil and the synthetic stuff that's sold as aquarium soil. It's not soil. It's an inert material. It's not bioactive. It's not a biological material. It can develop some biological activity as it as as the biology infiltrates it, but in the bag it's totally inert. It's chemicals. It's chemicals. It's a chemical material, and it's made with clay beads, with hard clay beads, like cat litter, that kind of clay bead. The red bag, not the green bag, the hard stuff that is that is soaked in minerals in order to give it some mineral content. And then you put that in the tank and it begins to bleed the mineral content into the water. Now, if you cap it, you're going to prolong its life. And you can, by capping it, manage to maintain it long enough for sedimentation to begin to develop the organisms, the organic structure that's needed in order to be able to make it a genuinely balanced aquarium. So the key is you're dealing with when you're doing a natural aquarium, what you're trying to create is a biological environment in which everything is alive and everything is working interactively with everything else, creating a web of life, a food web in which everything feeds everything, all the way down and all the way back up again. A balance of animal and plant material, because that's required in order for either one to be able to have adequate nutrients. It requires both animals and plants. Plants require animals for their nutrient. Animals require plants for their nutrient. They cannot survive without each other. And that goes all the way down to the microscopic level, goes all the way down to the bacterial level. So being able to build that, being able to put that together with live soil at the very beginning uh, provides an opportunity for that plant to then go through the process of chelating, which simply means that those elements that are in it that are active, and we add more to it. It's not just a shovel of dirt. It's several different things, and then the supplements on top of that, not in substantial amounts, and very tiny amounts in point of fact, but they're enough to be able to create some chemical activity and biological activity that causes all of these elements to become available. They develop a form that makes them available to be taken up by the plants or taken up by the bacteria. So there's a great deal more to it than kind of meets the eye, but what's exciting about it is that it's all natural process. So it occurs without having to do anything other than put together the pieces. You put together all these parts of the puzzle, and then it takes on a life of its own, and it begins to emerge and develop, and gives you a living organism. This tank is a living organism. Somebody made a fascinating comment recently. They were talking about all of the pictures that we've been using on the um, on our videos from the folks who are posting in the Discord channel, and said that all of your Discord fans have better looking tags than yours. And that's true. That's absolutely true. My tanks are I don't I have no artistic skill at all. I don't I know how to create jungles. And that's basically what I have. I've tried to clump some things together here to make it a little more interesting, but it's still a jungle. Um, but I love it. I mean, it's something that just it appeals to me in a very deep way, and is to me a very rich environment. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's certainly not an artistic presentation, and I do appreciate those who can do that. When at the show, I think I did a live on the 8 or 10 aquariums that were scaped, and pointed out a few that really quite nice, and a lot of them were really quite amateurish. They looked more like my kind of stuff. But a few were just brilliant. They were there was at least one, probably two, that were top quality. They were ADA quality, just really really nice stuff. But that's not what this is. This is not an attempt to create a picture. This is an attempt to create a living environment. Now, one of the criticisms that's been leveled at this over the years has been, oh, well, sure, you can do that if you have very limited fauna in a 20-gallon tank, 29-gallon tank. If you do a dozen fish, you can do that. It's pretty simple. This tank now has 30 gallons, 33 maybe. It's half of 55. How many fish are in here? It is approaching 100 fish. The Formosa are kicking it up. And I'm waiting now for some of these apistos to start spawning, or some of these golden top, the top minnows to start spawning, so that we can start getting a lot more babies in here. I really want to see babies, and it should be happening. Maybe it'll happen with the rainbows. It's also possible the babies are being eaten up. There are a lot of, particularly apistos, are back down in here, as are the Formosa. They're down in these tiny little areas all the time. I'm seeing them down in there, so it may be difficult for babies to survive. I need to get more leaf litter in there. I need to find ways to do that, to get more in there, so I can, and that'll also generate more microfauna for these babies to be able to eat enough quickly enough to get big enough to start being able to hide out and protect themselves. So once that happens, we will wind up with hundreds of fish in this tank. Then what are they going to say? We'll win the war yet. Oh, Paul Cohen is here. Michael Carlson. Michael, get you a moderator, get you a wrench. And Julie W. Welcome, Julie. Ters is still with us. Who else is here? Uh-oh. Who in the world did that? Erie, did you do that? Did you delete cycles? He's just stirring the pot. That's all he's doing. That's all I do is stir the pot. Cockatoides. Yeah, they are. The cockatoides. They're triple reds, actually. Is the earth flat? Shifty Mac says. Now, let's not be screwy here. Is the earth flat? Well, the part I live on is. I've noticed that. There are a lot of hills, though. I've noticed a lot of hills. I think it's flat until you get up above it, and then it's round. That's kind of what I've noticed. Flatfish, right? Flatfish. Julie just got her first wrench. All right, Wendy Stankovich. Hello, Wendy. Nice to see you. Didn't know the age of the earth could change based on religion or lack thereof. Interesting point, isn't it, Wendy? True enough. Bobby Joe. I love this page. Yeah, it's great fun, isn't it? We'll get you a wrench, Bobby Joe, so you can thoroughly enjoy yourself. Ah, Skylar, talking about flat Earth. Honest Pete, people, what brought this up? As if I didn't know. How do I get Monte Carlo to spread? um, food web. If you develop a food web, it'll spread because it'll provide the nutrients that it needs for those tiny little roots to be able to suck up food. Bliss app. Faye Scotland. Bliss app now is wrenched. James Mills. Did I give you a wrench? I think I did. I did not. But I'm gonna right now. Done and done. Daryl and Tony. Hey, Darren and Tony. Darren and Tony. Jesus is indeed Lord. Amen to that. Michael. Ooh, we already got one. And Jolie. Not a pancake. No, not a pancake. Does Michael? Yes, he does. I think I'm caught up. Is there anyone that doesn't have a ranch? I think I got caught up. Did I get caught up? Trill, 3-inch turtle, currently in 10 gallons. Most I had was pothos with 2 inches of gravel. Turtles are not easy to keep. They're really not. I had turtles in this tank, and I had to take them out because they'd have eaten the fish, and I really needed the tank for fish. Oh, I have one more thing here. I need to show you that I have just about figured out what I'm going to do. Let's see if we can see these. Look at that. Roxy and Peplin Creek brought me this boy and a girl. Aren't they stunning? Take the bubbler out so you can see them better. They're still in the bucket, but I finally figured out what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to put them on the floor. I've got a low tank that I'm going to put them in. I'll have to do that tomorrow because I couldn't get to it today. Aren't they wonderful? Just so excited about my new axolotls, and they are like 5 inches long. They're really big, and they're a year old. So they did a magnificent job of raising these guys. And I'm hoping I can get them keep going and get them breeding. So that's the plan. Be the Arrow. I love it. Where is that? Where is Be the Arrow? I just saw that pop up. Darlene Coppice. Hello, Darlene. Damp sand. What's he talking about? Fed some rotted tadpoles to a pair 10 years ago. Ah, nice. How are the discus doing? I moved them. They're doing real well. Let's take a look. They kind of darkened up. Somebody made a comment about the discus. They said that he changes his water all the time. That's why my discus look the way they do and his look the way his do. Well, that was partly true. But the other part is they were in a low tank with inadequate light. So I've moved them up. 1, 2. There are 4 in here. There's 3. One, two, three. Here's the other one. There they are. Right there. So they're starting to get some color now. Light back up here a little better. I really don't have good light on the side here. I need to work on that. I got some new lights, and I'm going to get them hooked up. Now, I should mention, these are Stendecker discus, but they are not quality discus. These are grade C discus. They are low grade discus. They are coals. And Sue doesn't want to kill anything, so she puts them in a coal bin, and that's where I got them. I bought these guys because I wanted to test them out. So I didn't pay a lot of money for them. They're not high quality fish, but I got a couple of pretty nice ones, and you can see some of them don't have good contour, like that one has really bad shape. And this one, it's obviously got something wrong with it genetically because it's kind of it's not thriving. The other two of them are thriving. Two of them are doing extremely well. That one and the blue. Oh, there he is down there. This one are doing very, very well. So I'm excited about it. We're doing a no water change system with them. So we're kind of proving a point that we can have healthy fish. And we're not starting with great high quality fish. We're starting with low quality fish. And you'll be able to see as we come along. They've been here about a month now. So, but they're looking happy and healthy. They're doing well. I feed them 2-3 times a day, and I'm feeding the Japanese food that I did a little blurb on. A bunch of people have bought it and they're enjoying it. It's pretty good food. Let's see what else we got here. These are the checkerboard cichlids. 2 males and 3 females. No, 2 females and 3 males. They're looking pretty good. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, there's 3, 4. Another one, something. What's Molluns in here? So they're doing all right. This poor tank, I need to get out. I finally found a place I can get in the water to get some macroalgae. But these pumpfish are doing just remarkably well. And I think they're finally getting to a place where they're going to start breeding. They're beginning to pick out spots, the males are. Once they do that, then they get serious about it. They ain't been serious yet. It's another one I keep scraping the algae off. I really need plants in there. Keep that algae down. See if they'll let me get near them. Mm-hmm. Look at that. I'm trying to sneak up. Look at these hiding. I get close. He's hiding. Honest. Okay, we're back. Bliss Up started a 3rd tank. Wonder if it's a hobby or a habit. Well, it's viral. Isn't the real father fish without the beard? Well, that's true. That's true. You know what? I don't know. I haven't really been able to put into words what this beardless thing is, because father fish is bearded, like Father Time is bearded, and I think what it was, I don't know. I don't understand what I'm doing yet with it, but I think I wanted to be genuinely authentic and at the same time be able to play on the father fish image. Would your method work with slow growers such as Anubias boost? Absolutely, absolutely. Now here's the problem. If the soil fell before the roots reach the soil, you can't do it right away. You got to wait about 6 months. And if you will start developing a food web with your resurrection jar concept, start developing that food web, that goes a long way toward providing nutrients in the upper level of the substrate, uh, and which allows then for you to be able to grow things like anubias and buse and so forth. So I just wouldn't do it in a brand new tank. You'd just throw your money away. You want to get it balanced, get it going first. It takes a little time for all of those chemicals and all those compounds to get developed to the point where the plants are really able to take advantage of it. It's not instant. Nothing is. James Mills. Try to level my sand after filling with water and now it's cloudy. A sponge filter helps. It'll clear up in a day. If it's just cloudy from dust in the sand, that'll precipitate out in a day. What you don't want to do is have a hang on the back filter because that's going to keep things stirred up. A sponge filter won't do that. A sponge filter will simply move water into it and then create a little bit of top flow. The problem with the hang on the back is it shoots a jet of water straight down to the bottom, and so it creates a different kind of current as opposed to the water coming up like this. It's going down like that, and that tends to create more turbidity. So the sponge filter is simply better in that respect, and it does help to clarify, clear it up. So let's see what else is here. Can I keep white cloud minnows in a Tetra tank? Absolutely. White clouds are very gentle fish. They're not aggressive. They're not going to hurt a thing. They'll be perfect with tetras. My sponge filter's on really low in my heavily planted tanks for ages, so pull the plug. It's up to you. You certainly can. I do it. I do it and then I put it back on. Right now, I've got two sponges, one at each end of here going. And the main reason I do that is because I want to make sure there are no dead spots. I want to have enough current so that there's water moving naturally. And you can't see it. I mean, you can't see water moving in here, but there is a natural kind of flow that occurs that keeps dead spots from occurring. It's not so much a problem in freshwater tanks as it is in saltwater. In saltwater, it's critical to have flow. That's tidal water, it's wave water. Um, it's just a completely different environment. Mr. Amelie, had my 200-gallon up and running for a week. Still collecting plants, added a few feeder guppies, goldfish, 2 or 3 days just to have something in it. That will be a joy. As that develops, that's going to be so much fun. And Will Bond's doing a 55 with plants, Daphne, other pond critters, good food once a week for the small fish. And that provides that those are oxygen breathers. You need oxygen breathers in order for plants to be able to survive. And copepods and other macrofauna are algae or are breathers, oxygen breathers. So they do provide the necessities for. This Betta just captivates me. He's showing off for the female now. I'm gonna have to do a video. I'm gonna have to sneak up on him and Try to do a video. He is such a stunning fish. And he won't let me get near him. Let's see. How often do I test the water? Well, I brought new fish in, and I wanted to know what the water was that they were in. So I tested their water, and just to double check myself, I tested mine. And it turns out that the only one that was not 75 to 80 were the neons, and they were in about 70. So I just put them in because they can go up without any trouble, and they're not having any trouble at all. They're doing just fine. They were pretty scrawny because they hadn't eaten in a week or two. But I've noticed they're picking up food already. So I'm feeding them right now. I'm feeding a golden pearl reef and larval food. This is 1 to 200 micron, so it's pretty tiny stuff. I like golden pearls. It's basically shrimp and not much else. And it's in essentially a powdered form. So for these tiny fish, it works real well. And for new fish, I want to keep food on them. The rainbows and the neons, particularly. Last Box Hero, Paul Cohen, Jenny. Hey, Jenny. 3G is here. James Mills. W13RD guy. How often do you test the water? In point of fact, I never test water. I brought new fish in. I wanted to know if they were in acid water. It's the only reason I did. I wanted to know if they were in acid water, and they're not. They were not in acid water. None of them were. They were in they were in 75 to 80 water, except as I said for the neons that were in about 70 water. That they was tested out green. Nothing tested out yellow. It was all green to blue. So, and that's fine. And now, if they were in acid water, I could have put them in. I would have taken a little time doing it. What you cannot get away with is moving fish from alkaline to acid quickly. That will kill them. They won't survive it. Last Box Hero is lurking on his drive home. Nice to have you with us on the road. Yuri, you're welcome. I see Brenda's having a good time. Wonderful. Happy to have Brenda with us. Brenda and her husband Ron went with me to the Clash, and we had a grand time. Saturday night, we went out to I guess it's a smorgasbord. It was an Amish s'more, and I never saw anything like that in my life. There had to have been somewhere in excess of 500 people in that restaurant. Everything was in lines. In lines going in lines getting to the table, in lines getting the food, but it flowed. And it was not a stressful thing at all. It just flowed really well, but an enormously big place. I got some fish that was just absolutely wonderful. I pigged out on fish and shrimp. So I had a joyous time, and I ate some ice curry, which I should not have done, but a little bit. I just had to taste it. And they had some baked apple and some baked peach, and I had to try those. Good fast growing stem plants. Nearly all of them are fast growing. Not all, but nearly all. What I would do, Paul, is go ahead and get the kit. It's 16 different stem plants, and then see which one does best, or which half a dozen do best, and then you'll know how you. By the time you figure that out, you'll be able to trim them and replant them. So you really won't ever have to buy more plants. That package, the plants come in fabulous condition. They're just really, really strong. You get them going, they'll start growing immediately, and you'll be able to trim them. You'll be able to trim them to replant in 2 to 3 weeks. They will grow enough to do that. Glenn Pratt's what filter just sponge. That's all I use as sponge filters. I've been doing that now in my shop. I had my tanks on a central system, so there was water flowing through into vats, but there was no filtration as such in the vats. I did have filter bags in many of those vats, so that acted as a particulate filter. But mainly I had deep substrate and a lot of hardscape in the vats, so the water flowed through there and then went back into the tanks, which were also deep substrate, hardscape, and sponge filter. What basically I'm the sponge filter guy. That's real. I think it's all I have. That's all I have. Sponge filters, and that's all I've had for years. The gentleman at the show I was talking to that had the Atari T-shirt from Massachusetts. I don't know his name, but he's the guy who I think if the same person who put together this back to nature show that's going on in Connecticut, um, which I'm enormously excited about. They were doing it. They're doing it to showcase returning captive fish, goody eyes, to natural biotopes that have been restored. I'm excited about it because it's an opportunity to showcase natural aquariums, getting back to nature in your aquarium and creating natural aquariums. So I'm looking to do a big splash of natural aquariums, and I want to be in touch with them and do what I can to promote that and put together a really substantial vendor display. So we'll see if I can pull all that together. I've got about 4 or 5 months to do it, so we'll see. I'm gonna need help from a lot of people to do it. So anybody who wants to jump on board and help with it, um, I will share whatever income we derive with whoever gets involved and participates. So I'll provide all the upfront stuff, and then and then share what I can, do what I can to offset hotel bills and so forth. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I certainly want to get a bunch of people involved and see if I'd like to have people doing a live culture display, doing a leaf display, doing plant display, doing kind of every aspect of the natural aquarium. So have all that as a single unit so that we can really show what's involved in making it happen. Let's see. I've just jumped past something. David Anati is from Rhode Island. So he won't be far. Where do I get the long tweezers? They're available. I haven't bought any recently. I need to buy some. I've got long scissors, which I really never use. And I'm down to one set of tweezers. I kept selling them until I only had one left. Now I can't sell them, so I need to try to get some more. They're available. I think they're on Amazon. I'd be surprised if they're not. Thank you, Bobby Joe. Yeah, the plants are working out really well. Paul's having trouble getting them to survive. Wow, that's a shame. Or you're burying them too deep. If you got a fairly new tank, you can't bury down into the dirt. You want to be in. You want to be no more than 1 inch into the sand. I don't know why they would be melting though. If the water's acidic, that could cause that they're in hard alkaline. They're grown out in hard alkaline water. That's Florida water, which is high in carbonates. So if that's an issue, you might check on that. Can't be too deep. They don't want to be hot, but I've really not noticed the temperature has affected them much one way or the other. I have not had any melt, and I've been putting them in my tanks routinely, and nothing is melting on me. So I haven't experienced the problem to know what's causing it. But those would be the things I'd look at. I'm sure you can get past it. Try some Vallisneria. Get some corkscrew valve and some swords. I'll be getting swords in about a week. Um, I'm going to start getting smaller swords, and I'll have more. I'll be able to do a better price on them. I've been doing mothered swords, which are just massive plants, and I have trouble getting them shipped in the way I want to get them. But I can get the smaller swords and get a better variety. So I think I'm going to start doing that next week, and I'll have them listed probably this week. But try that. Try swords. Try Val. Try crypts. They should not melt on you. The stem plants certainly can. Yeah, Shifty's asking about the source of the water. Good question. That could certainly be an issue. Angel is a poop patroller. That's funny. The, the guys put together the poop patrol as a short, which is so funny. But it has a real serious point to it. It's all about fish being able to survive in a natural environment without food going in there. This was this is done by our United Kingdom contingent who did a 6 month test of not feeding his fish. Now he did feed his frogs worms, but only the frogs got the worms. The other fish didn't get any food, and he checked every day to make sure they were pooping, and they pooped every day for 6 months. So it can be done. Riley Hamilton. Many likes would it take for you to change your name to the Fatherfish, the Marlon Brando of planted tanks. The Fatherfish. My T-shirts say the Fatherfish. Some of them do. I never really understood what that was. I don't know why I did it at the time. All right, let's jump down to the bottom here. Indeed, I just trimmed my plants and gave the trimmings to Ted Crawdundee. Nice. Uh, Bliss, I've got long tweezers from Timu. I'll get some in and list them. I will do that. They're really handy. Keeping your hand out of the water is very helpful because your fingers can get mine can get too big and fat. There are certain things I do plant in my hand, but all these little things like the stem plants and the crypts and the anubis, all that stuff, the tweezers work so much better for them. Hat Trick Farms has stupendous goldfish, just magnificent. Uh, um, Precious Tranquility does too. I don't know if she's been posting lately, but she's also has just amazing, amazing goldfish. I don't think she's posted in a while. She got off on a political tangent. Has been doing Good Mother for a few years now, and just got herself wound up with that, and thoroughly enjoying it. Doing some really exciting stuff with it. But we lost her. I lost her in my channel. DV. Good evening, Father Fish. I have a 40-gallon breeder with 3 goldfish. Gravel substrate. Can I have sand on top of the gravel? Yes, you can, and there are no cons. Only pros. It will work brilliantly. You'll be delighted you did it. It's going to balance your system. You won't have to clean anything anymore. All of that detritus will also allow plants to grow. You'll be able to grow swords in there, in that tank of the 40-gallon breeder. You'll be able to do some more hardleaf plants that the goldfish are not going to chew up. That'll work really, really well. So by all means, D, um, add sand 2 inches, 2 inches on top of the gravel. You'll be thrilled that you did it. Paradise fish are the mothers and father of all serial killers. Gotta agree with that. Barbed wire. I have a 20 tall. The sponge filter takes a lot of room. What's the downside of using just an air stone? There really is no downside. It's a perfectly appropriate thing to do. The only reason I don't do it is because I like sponge filters. I just kind of have a thing for them. But an air stone is every bit as effective. The only difference is it's not creating a bacterial, uh, a, a, a filtration center. Um, and in that case, it's kind of cheating, really, from the deep substrate. But yeah, air stones are absolutely perfect. You do get more flow with them, but there's certainly nothing wrong. Laurie Redloff. How long do most plants need the lights on? Excellent question. You need to gauge it. It depends on the light, depends on the plants, depends on your aquarium, just so many variables. What I recommend when you're setting up a new tank with new plants is to leave the lights on 24/7 for 1 to 2 weeks and then see what happens. If you start getting algae, then start cutting it back. Bubble curtains. You know, 3G's talking about bubble curtains. The bubble wands, they're pretty cool too. Indeed does both. I had both in here with the bettas, but bettas don't like any moving water at all. So I turned off the sponge and I pulled out the stone. So I have no moving water in that tank. I've got a pair of Achilles, a pair of guppies, and a pair of bettas, and I've got 2 plecos that I haven't seen since I put them in. So I'm hoping they're okay. They're chocolate plecos, I think. I gotta double check. No, they're not. You know what they are? They're leopard frogs. So I gotta check on them and make sure. I think that's what they're called. What are they called? What's the frog pleco called? John Erlinson says, "Hi." Well, hi, John. Nice to have you with us. It'll be held right near um, Mystic, close to Mystic Aquarium. It's at the Mystic Marriott Hotel and Spa in Groton, Connecticut. Groton. It's Groton, isn't it? And it'll be April 5th to 7th. Now, if any of you are going, I need to get a code. That don't register until I get a code out, and then register with the code. You'll get a discount by doing that, and we'll get credit, and then we'll be able to apply that credit to our display and other stuff. So, give me in this week. I'll get the code this week, and we'll be able to do that. That'll be great fun. And Sistress, just enormously popular pleco. They're not Ancestris. They're something else. And I think the chocolate is an Ancestris. I don't think they're Ancestris. Could be wrong. I think they're, I don't know what they are. I'll have to find the bag or the ticket or something and find out what they are. I lost track of what I bought. I was looking at so many things, I just said, give me those without really paying attention to what I was getting. Oh, David says that's only an hour away. John Erlinson. Hello, hello. D says, thank you for answering my question. I try to do that. The trick is seeing them. How long do most plants need lights? We did that. Interested in aquascape, says John Erlinson. We're putting together an aquascape chapter in our book. Tisha is coordinating that. We've got a couple of videos of her. She's also done a couple of videos. If you get over on Discord, you'll be able to get the link for those, and we'll also be able to get support. She's talking about doing a support group for people who want to do aquascaping, and she's into formal aquascaping, so it'll be a chance to learn from somebody who's really training herself to do formal work. Color variation of the bulb is important for plant growth. I tell you what's really important is if you can get as close as you can get to a natural sunlight, which is a multiple spectrum. But the daylight bulbs are the best because they have the best spectrum. Tisha, Titia, Tisha. She is amazing. If you have coolie loaches or dwarf chain, you're adding sand to a gravel aquarium. Is it okay to do it with them in the tank? Absolutely, doesn't bother them at all. Not even a little bit. They live naturally on sand. Their natural environment is sand. So it's certainly not a problem, Neil. Good question. It doesn't matter what kind of sand you use. If you want to try to track the biotype there that the fish you're putting them with are in, you can look at that. I like the brown sand. I have a hard time getting it. I got some red sand. I found it was too fine. The white sand I use because it's cheap, easy, and very effective. I use black occasionally. I like it. I've had red sand. Um, most of the colored sands. I've also found painted sand, like greens, yellows, blues, greens, all that stuff. And I found a source for that that's color fast, so you really can use it in your tanks. It's very fine. I find that fine sand is generally better than coarse sand. The finer, the better. The finer sand I've used in tanks, the better my plant growth has been, which I don't begin to understand, but that's been my experience. Any sand at all, so long as the sand is inert. What you don't want is anything that's made out of calcium or anything that's shell based, anything that's going to dissolve, uh, because it'll crust over. It'll form a crust on the surface and prevent anything from getting into it. So you really don't want to do that. Laurie Radloff says I have well water. When I get to the point I don't need to do water changes, but only top offs, will that increase hardness and be detrimental to the fish? If you've got plenty of plants in there, it'll balance. It will not. It will not increase hardness. Plants are the key. With lots of plants, they absorb the hardness. In fact, you need to use the base water in order to be able to keep the GH up. Otherwise, it'll drop. Had a bonsai in the back with a river running by it. Sounds delightful, isn't it? David Radskill, for all my fish and 7 tanks, I use rainwater. The key for that is to make sure that you're not getting precipitous drops in your pH, because there are no carbonates in rainwater. So if you're adding that in, if you've got a calcium kind of sand, or you're adding in something like eggshell or some such thing that's going to maintain some carbonates, then you're going to be okay. Otherwise, you're going to have an acidic tank. If you have fish that like acid water, it'll be great. Won't be a problem at all. A zombie gets water from a natural stream. Be interested to know what the pH is, zombie. It depends on what it's running through, but it could be very hard or it could be very soft. Yeah, the book will be out, and eventually it'll be out. And I think what I'm going to try to do right away, we're going to do a PDF, and then rather than go to hard print, I'm gonna go the other direction and do some 15-minute videos that'll be high graphic videos. That'll be a lesson plan for the book. That's cute, David. By the show, we have a T-shirt that says, "Well, hello, come come right in. You're at Father Fish." Oh, I need to do that. Wonderful idea. I should have did it on the poster. We'll do a big banner. Come right on in. You're at Father Fish. Fun, fun. Does it make sense to use RO for top offs? Not necessarily. Um, you need to kind of track it. If you got a lot of plants, it doesn't, because the plants are absorbing those that GH. So you need the regular water in order to be able to keep the GH from dropping. Erie's gone to bed. Good night. Gotta work in the morning. Nice to have you with us. New house lock and key is here. He's saying sorry, had to go out for a bit. Glad you're back. Yeah, I know what that business is like. It's 24 hours on call. Don't recommend quarries with fine sand. If you have, if you allow, I was discussing this with a friend over the weekend at the show, and he had several different tanks with cores in each of them, with sand in all of them. And in some of the tanks, there was no damage to the barbels at all. In others, there was. The difference was the ones that had damage to the barbels were tanks that he cleaned, that he stirred up routinely. So he was killing off the bacteria that coat each of those grains of sand in a natural environment. So in that natural environment, it was not a problem at all. So you might consider that when you're doing this, that I have cories in all of my tanks. I have no barbel problem at all because I'm not messing with the substrate. If you're messing with the substrate, you're going to have problems. Darwar said the streamer went to had signs about blue-green algae bloom. Avoid using it for my resurrection jars. Not necessarily. That algae bloom is occurring because of certain conditions that you can prevent, primarily probably it's sunlight, and also an excess of nutrients that there are inadequate microbiota to deal with. Uh, Set up a jar and see what it does. Give it a go. Give it a try. You probably can avoid it. David Ragsdale, you're very welcome. Let's see. Paul Boone. Need to give Paul a wrench while we're looking at him and see what he's saying. I transform my 75-gallon African cichlid to a father fish natural planted using your additive. Couldn't be happier with the results. Do you still have the Africans in there, Paul? Because that's kind of the key to the story. But nice job. Nice going. Too many people are afraid to do it, and you really don't need to be. 3G. Oh, point about the cores keeping the fine sand stirred up. That's interesting. Very fine sand, you're saying they'll stir up. Yeah, I don't know. I probably have not had quarries on very fine sand. So I don't know about that, but that's a good point. Wendy, my first father with switchover was a gravel goldfish at a cap, now has angels, dwarf preco, quarries, and heavily planted. And I don't feed at all. Wow. With angels, that's neat. Shadab Aquatic Life. Hello, Father Fish, big fan of yours. It's 5 a.m. in India right now. I love angels and rams. Upgraded my tank to a 55 planted. It's in progress. Nice to have you with us, Shadab. Got you up early in the morning. Julie W. Hello, hello. The fishy plumber is here. I think I've covered everything. If I have not covered your question, post it again, please. I don't want to scroll all the way back. I'm caught up. I'd like to stay that way. And Donna Arnold, distinguishing sweaters and cardigans. Cardigan in the UK is a sweater here in the States. Funny. Oh, a knitted sweater. Yeah, I think a, a hand knitted sweater would be more cardigan-esque. Julie, thank you for the beautiful plants. You're very welcome, Julie. It was delighted to meet you at the show. That was great fun. Ooh, mercy. What are the white foam looking balls in the organic soil? What's that stuff called? Can't think. It's sold. It's mixed in with soil to create aeration. It's not a problem if it's in there and you cap it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to come up through the sand. So don't worry about it. What is that called? Somebody will know. Perlite. Thank you, Preston. Yes, perlite. Um, it's not a problem. Don't worry about it. Don't try to take it out. Just make sure you've got adequate sand on top of the soil, and it'll stay. It'll stay where it belongs. Or vermiculite. Preston decided it's vermiculite. He deleted his perlite. Are those clay pellets any good? Um, yeah, the clay is a really excellent substrate material. The problem is it is so dense that roots can't get into it. So the balls, if you mix them in with soil, as they break down, all of those minerals will be accessible to the plant roots. So yes, they are good. Perlite or vermiculite, quite true. Dave, thank you. You're very welcome. Bless you. Probable cause clause is here. Father Fish, don't like keeping expensive fish because my fish die all the time. What am I doing wrong? Well, I don't know probable cause, but I tell you what, we're going to figure it out. I want you to get over on our Discord channel, on our did we do? I'm going to find the link here and post it on our Father Fish Shoal so that we can work out what's going on because this is not good and it should not be happening. And we're going to fix it so it doesn't happen anymore. We got to figure out what's causing it. So it'll what you need to do is get over here, start posting pictures, talk to some folks. There'll be people who will be very interested, probable cause. Here's the link. So you need to upload Discord. It's an app, and then get on there, and you'll meet some folks. It's a very friendly place. There are hundreds of people there talking about hundreds of different things all the time. Very busy, active place, and just really engaging. You're gonna love it, and we're gonna solve your problem. No events and platies in my new tank are scratching on the plants. And all that scientific what causes this. It could be ick that hasn't shown up yet. Keep an eye on them, just watch them closely. If it is, then kick the temperature up. But if you see the first spot, 86 to 87 degrees, 86 plus, do 87 and leave it there for 3 days. It should be all that's needed to be able to resolve the issue. Just keep an eye on them. No, it may be nothing. It may be something. Don't let it go. Don't ignore it. It's good that you picked up the behavior because that is a behavior that's not particularly normal. It means the fish is trying to get something off of itself. It could be ick. It could just be dirt. It could be an irritant. Hard to say what it is. But watch it closely. And if you start seeing white spots, that means the parasite is in the fish and that white spot is its waste. It's not the parasite itself. The parasite is under a scale, but its waste comes out the channel that it burrowed into the fish through. So you start seeing that. You've got to get to it right away. You can't miss a beat with it. If you get to it immediately, you can stop it dead in its tracks. If you let it go for a week, you're going to lose fish and probably all of them. So it's important to deal with it right away. And we're going to get your wrench going. Noah, nice to have you with us. If I have super salt water, do we need to add sea chem buffer? Well, sea chem buffer is simply carbonates. Do you need to add carbonates? It depends on whether you want salt water. Salt water tends to be acid water. Um, you can have soft water that has carbonates in it already. It can be no general hardness, but just carbonates enough to keep the pH up and still be salt water. It's unusual, but that can happen. So you want to check, mostly what you want to do is check your pH. And if it's where you want it to be, you don't need to do a thing. 3G, thank you, 3G, for the $5 super sticker. Appreciate it. Thank you. Super chat. Super chat, right. Natural tanker, right. Craig's Catfish Cave is here. Hello, Craig's. Nice to see you. Great to have you with us. G-Plat, my ammonia levels are low, but I have high nitrite levels. Am I lacking enough beneficial bacteria to turn nitrate? It's just too soon. It hasn't happened yet. Don't worry about it. If you got a lot of plants in there, they're going to absorb nitrates as well. Nitrate, they will absorb ammonia, they will absorb nitrite, they will absorb nitrates. Plants will solve the problem. So just get more plants in, and you'll see that'll drop. It'll go down. Oh, Preston said I fixed my problem. Bravo, Preston. How old is my tank? That's the science. Maybe talking to G Plant. Oh, yeah. Asking about the ammonia levels. Low ammonia, high nitrate. And he's saying, new sign. Yeah. It sounds like a new tank, doesn't it? What color clay has the most benefit for plants? The red clay does. Blue clay does not. The red clay does because it's iron. Somebody sent me a picture of soil. They're in Brazil. I don't know where in Brazil, but they showed me a picture of their soil, and it is red. It is like loaded with iron. So just perfect. So we talked about that. We talked about him using that, and also using that's the black soil from South America, the name of which escapes me because I have a sieve for a brain. Somebody's going to know it real quick. I looked it up and I found it right away. It's right there. Right there. Right there. Instead of using sand, can I use fine gravel? Put a sand cap over dirt, then cap it with gravel. You can cap the sand with gravel. In fact, if you can get some of that tiny river rock, it's really pretty. Use that as a cap over the sand. Gravel just doesn't work. It's just not. It's not dense. It's not, wrong word. It's not fine enough, and it allows water flow. If the water can flow through, then it's going to wash nutrients back out into the water column. And that's what sand prevents. Prevents the water from flowing through. It just stops it. And then the water does flow through, but it flows through very slowly at the rate of the cilia on the microfauna moving the water and feeding. That's slow. Love if you would carry canvasbacks with a logo. I saw some at the show and I really liked them. I'm going to get some. We're going to do that. Aqua Designs, hello, hello. Nice to see you. Stopping by working tonight. Aqua Designs has a chauffeur service. With it's essentially a limo service. It's a very high quality car. She does specialized, but basically it's limo service, but very nice quality work. India is in North Carolina. Dave's Aquatic Domain, Black Diamond Plastic Sand. I love it. Now, I've gotten different grades of it. There is a fine and a coarse. Typically, they have two grades, either of which are fine, but I got a bag of it once that was brown and it was powder. Honest to God, it was powder. And I had bought it to use it at Super Cichlids when I set up their tank, and I put this stuff in, and it's like floating to the bottom. I was like, oh my word, what have I done? So I got another bag of coarser material to put on top of it. It had no effect at all, no negative effect at all. The tank's been brilliant, been probably better. It's just really kind of amazing how effective sand is, no matter how fine, powder fine, and it still works effectively. Robin said, enjoyed what videos you're able to take at the show videos. Thank you for sharing what you were able to. It was fun to do. I got messed up the first day because I was using a laptop that has a touch screen, and I kept touching the screen and blowing it away. I finally just carried it like a baby, and it seemed to work out all right. I want to turn that touchscreen feature off. I don't know if I can do it. I think I can. No, it was not a fine. Well, I guess it was a fine grit, but it was super fine. It was like a powder grit. Yeah, which I guess you can use in sandblasting, probably to polish. I guess it would polish, huh? Funny. G. Platt, Raphael, 3-week old tank planted with 6 cherry barbs. Should I be doing water changes to lower the nitrate level? G. Platt asks, and the answer is a resounding, everybody together, no! Nitrates are nutrients. They are not toxic. Don't believe the lie. It is a lie and a fraud. Nitrates are nutrients. If your nitrates get up to 500, that's the level at which they begin to have a negative effect on living matter. However, it is impossible to achieve that level of nitrate other than by doing it in a laboratory where it was done to test the principle. At 400 plus, algae will run rampant in that tank and they will control it. They'll drop it like a stone. Nitrates are never toxic. Never. Do not stress over nitrates. It's simply one more hole in the water you throw money in. Don't buy it, don't believe it. It's a fraud. Is that clear enough? A hug from Portugal. Ursusa Aquarios. Need to give you a wrench. Get you wrenched up. Ursusias. What time is it? Quarter of. We got 15 minutes. Oh. Wendy saying, I capped my gravel goldfish tank with black plastic sand. It's nice. I really like it. It is an inert substance. It's slag. You know what slag is? It's what's left after smelting iron. It's what the coal turns into after it's been burned off. And all the waste is burned out of the iron. It's the remnants of all that. It's totally inert, doesn't do anything. It just sits there permanently, more or less. Good stuff. Rutherford County, the foothills, Abadoo. Abadoo, Dave's Aquatic Domain. In my Muda 125, I have 40 nitrate and they breed. Bravo, Dave's. Preston Strobel. How do I keep my shrimp alive? Oh my God. Try to keep cherry shrimp, they all died. Did they die because I have super soft water, even though my pH is 7A? Could be, could very well be. They need, yeah, you need hard water. Unless you do it, try Caridina. Get some Caridina and try them. See if they do better. If you got soft water, well, you got salt water. There it is. There's a perfect example. pH 7-8 salt water. So it's got low GH, high carbonates. So it has high pH and uh, salt water. It's odd, but it happens. I don't know. I would add minerals to it. Just get it up, see if that matters. Or how in the world do you get the carbonates out? Add RO water to it, and then try some Caridinas. See if that makes it, because they like soft acid water. Fish Fam Link. Saying hello, Preston. Dave's Aquatic Domain. Yeah, I know 90% of YouTubers spread it. I know it. Everybody does. There's a lot of money in it. A lot of money in nitrate control. And it's bogus. It's totally, absolutely, completely, 100% bogus. It is a perfect example of, of the industry fraudulently teaching people to do something that does not need to be done at all. There is no justification, none whatsoever. Robin Beasley, my nitrites and nitrates are always zero when I test. Is that bad? No, it's not bad. It's okay. I don't use any special flossing, just a sponge filter, some bio beads, and I'm sure you got a lot of plants in there, and they're just absorbing it. They're absorbing everything. What you might consider is kicking it up. What do you need to keep it up? Um, Probably have a low general hardness, would be my guess. Try adding carbonates and some mineral supplements. See if it'll make a difference. It's not a bad thing. It's okay. All it means is that the plants you've got in there are maxing out on the available nitrate. and it would be better for the plants to have more nitrates. But I've never thought about how you increase nitrates. What do you do to increase nitrate? Nitrogen, ammonia, inadequate ammonia. But the ammonia, oh, that's weird. Means all the ammonia is being converted to nitrates, being converted to nitrates. I'm guessing. Have you tested for ammonia? I'd like to know more about this, Robin. We need to stay on this. Jump over to Discord. Let's deal with it over there, where we got some time and focus and see if we can figure out some answers. We need answers. I'm using microfauna regularly. Bravo. Good job, Ross, Aquarius. Nice. Dave. Pretty cheap food. Yes, it is. Omar Khatib. Feed the fish more. Well, I thought about that, and I think you're probably right. Just put more fish, put more food in there, generate more ammonia, add more fish to get more nitrogen, says Michael. Makes sense to me. Robin Beasley, ammonia's always zero. Yeah, put some more fish in and feed them more. See if that'll make a difference. Dave's Aquatic Domain, Resurrection. Want to do some 10-gallon like Phil. Do I need to use the father fish supplement with percent and mud from a pond beyond wet? Probably so. It may take a little longer. You may miss out on a few things, but it'll certainly work. And if you do the river sand, get get live sand. Don't get beach sand. Go out in the water and dig it up, and go down 6 to 8 inches. Get that deeper sand. It's going to have a lot more material in it, a lot more biological material, and that's going to work a lot better. And you don't need to worry about capping it. Just let it sit right on the top. It'll work really effectively. More poop. There it is. More poop. Aquarius said I used plenums until recently. It went wrong. Nitrates almost zero. Neocaridina stopped reproducing and died never again. Ha ha. So there it is. Interesting. Plenums did that. By golly. That's the first negative thing I've ever heard about plenums. Interesting. So it burns up all the nitrates, which kills off the neocaridina. Whoop-de-doo. Add more fish to get more nitrogen. That's really cool. Good job, guys. Gobies are cool in brackish tanks. They absolutely are. I've got one little goby in my brackish tank. Didn't even know I had him. He came in and he's about an inch long. Just scooting around doing real well. Been in there for months. I want to get out. I finally found a place I can go. I'm going to try to get out this week before it gets too cold and see if I can't get some more stuff for the brackish tank. How many plant bundles should I get to fill at 50%? I would do 2, and then also get Vallisneria and some swords. That I would do that. That would be a good startup. 2 bags, some Vallisneria. You can get the corkscrew. I'm going to be getting some of the jungle val in, and a couple of sword plants. That'll work really effectively in a 55. Wendy went from 40 baby neos to over 100. Dave said, I wish I could find a freshwater goby. They're around. I've got some here, but I can't, I don't remember where I got them. They're from India. Most of the freshwater gobies, I think, are from India. They don't show up much. Angel, hugs and kisses and good night. Bless you, Angel. Salient. What mean check nitrates incorrectly? No, never check nitrates. Darters are great too. Yes, they are. Oh, India is saying I thought I had 3 shrimp trimmed, and I think there are 50. Are they not technically brackish? They are. Um, there are freshwater. Are there freshwater gobies? There are freshwater gobies, but most gobies are brackish. Most gobies go from fresh to brackish, not fresh to salt, although there are saltwater gobies. But most of the freshwater gobies will spawn in brackish water, where the eggs will hatch and the babies start feeding in that brackish water and then move upstream as they grow. We're about out of time here. Bumblebee, I don't know. Good question. I believe bumblebee is a freshwater goby. I don't believe they're brackish. What is it about saltwater fish that need the salt? That's a really good question because they don't need the salt. They don't drink the salt. The salt does not get into their bodies. In fact, they have a slime coat so dense that prevents the salt from getting into their bodies. And they're not eating it. So it has to do then with the density of the water and the air bladder control because they won't live in fresh water. They're susceptible to disease in fresh water. They get fungus easily. So it's the reaction of their slime coat to the salt that maintains the stability of the fish in that environment. Beyond that, I'm only guessing. But really, really good question. Be worth digging into that. There are people who have been trying to work out keeping saltwater fish in freshwater, and it generally doesn't work. It's easier to keep freshwater fish in saltwater. Hi, Desert Aqua. Nice to see you, Jared Rozovink. Their cells explode. That's exactly right, Jared. It's they need that denser water in order to maintain control. Take a Tower of Naphtali. Um, I've had the same thing happen moving fish from hard alkaline water to soft acid water. It causes the cells to swell up because they're under pressure. That salinity creates pressure. And when you relieve that pressure, their cell is going to explode. It's going to expand, depending on how quickly it happens. If it happens very slowly, they'll be able to tolerate it, but probably to a point they won't tolerate it at all. To a point it'll expand so much that they won't be able to sustain the cell wall structure. So you could be absolutely right, Jared. That probably is precisely what prevents saltwater fish from surviving in freshwater. Also, density, yeah, disease, bladder issues that would have certainly. Plus the fact that they're removing salt from their bodies, but which is part of the chemical process of the biological process that goes on in saltwater fish. Mollies can be kept in salt water, but they're brackish. Yes, they are. But I found them in soft acid water. I found mollies in 5.0 water in Florida. So explain that one to me. Dave's Aquatic Domain. I've heard there's some damsels that can live in brackish. Saltwater damsels would have to be close to full salt. Yeah, most saltwater reef fish can live in high brackish water, like 19, maybe down to 15. Robin's looking forward to the canvas bag. Mollies don't like ocean water. I've seen them in saltwater tanks. I've had them in saltwater tanks. You can acclimate them. They can live in full salt. Bull shark can live in freshwater salt. Good point. They obviously are able to maintain an adjustment to do that. Last box heroes, 7 hours down, 5 to grow, long drive up. Be safe, class box. Storing Kinston sells saltwater mollies. Bull sharks are crazy. They certainly are. All right, guys, we are out of time. There is a fellow goes on who I can't remember. He comes on at 8 o'clock, and I can't remember his channel name. But I met him at I met him at the Clash. Had a real nice time. I've been on his channel a couple of times. He's coming on right now. So poke around, see if you can find somebody. Just maybe somebody can come up with his name real quick. Been found in the Mississippi River. Yeah, way up in the river. Crystal said, I just bought your fish food. Fish love it. I know. It's amazing. Uh, I, I, here's how I store it. I don't think it goes stale, not quickly. It's pretty dry. It's not going to go stale. Just keep the air off of it. All righty. Love you all. Uh, See you over on Discord. New chat, new video just came out. Check it out. And we will see you next Sunday. Love you all. Bye for now.